Hi guys, in this video I'll be going through the entire process of threading this Brother CS5055, starting with winding the empty bobbin. I have 3 girls that are learning to sew, and each of them is struggling with a different part in this process, so hopefully this video can help someone else as well. So first we need to thread the top part of the machine to wind the bobbin. So we are following the dotted directions. So 1, put the thread on this pin with the thread coming out from the back or in a clockwise direction. Make sure your machine is off while you're doing this. Then this thread goes right inside this guide, and it's going to get caught inside of there by a piece of wire that's in there. Then this disc here, you're going to go behind, come around, and then come back in this direction. And as you can see, if you hold it taut, hopefully you can see that it's crisscrossing like you see here in the diagram. Alright, so cut off the excess thread from that you brought across here and get a sharp edge. Alright, now looking at your empty bobbin, you will notice that you have a hole at the bottom and at the top. Alright, not the rectangular cutouts. Alright, picking any one, you are going to thread this thread from the bottom and pull it out at the top. Okay, so through from the bottom, and then you're going to pull that thread up on top and join it with the long piece. All right, and then it should look like this. Oops. It should look like this. All right, now holding that on this here, right, the spool holder, you will notice that there is a notch here. This rectangular notch at the bottom needs to line up with that. Now some machines, you can just put it on there, and when you turn it, the notches fall into place and you hear a click sound. I found that with this machine, you know, it's easier to just line it up. All right, and it has to be on those notches for it to thread properly. If it is not caught in the notches, it is going to wind, you know, all, you know, saggy. All right, now your machine should still be off, and you're going to push this across. Then taking your short piece of thread, making sure it's not crisscrossing here, you're going to pull it just a little bit to make sure that this thread is not too tight but taut enough. First, you're going to turn your machine on, and now you're ready to get it started. So hold this short piece of thread out of the way so that it doesn't get entangled, and we just want to get the bobbin started so that we can cut off the excess top thread so that it doesn't get entangled, okay, because that can cause problems down the road. So we're going to hold it out of the way and gently touch the foot pedal just a little bit, and then lift your foot off the foot pedal. Alright, so that is started, and I'm going to cut off the excess, and then I'm going to keep my foot on the foot pedal, and we will know when it is finished because the bobbin will stop winding. So just press down on the foot pedal and keep your foot there until it cannot wind anymore. And as soon as you realize it cannot wind anymore, take your foot off the pedal. Alright, so we're going to pull that away from that stop. And if you look at our bobbin, once you do follow all those steps, you should have a neatly wound bobbin. If you notice that your thread is looking saggy at all, then maybe the bobbin holder did not get, like, was not in the notches. That's what I found a lot of times prevents it from winding properly if you have threaded the top part, you know, correctly. All right, so cut off that, and now we're ready to thread the top part of the machine. So now we're threading the top part of the machine. So thread is on the spool holder. We're going to go through the notch. So we're following the solid lines. All right, so through the notch from the spool holder, that's 1. So from the notch, sorry, down here, that's 2. 3 is under the wheel. For 4, we have to bring it up, and there is a latch, a silver latch, that's in here. If you turn your wheel away from you, it moves that up and down. Sorry, you want to make sure that that is in the furthest position up. Then you want to take the thread towards this side and bring it to, let's call it the front of that latch, all the way around to the back, and that is going to ensure that the thread gets caught on that latch or that hook, whatever you want to call it. Okay, if it is not caught on there, the machine is not going to sew properly. So that is 4. 5 through that channel, and then there is a little silver bar right in front of the needle. You want to take your thread and let it get caught there, and now we are going to use the needle threader. So it's better to thread the machine with it off. However, I'm leaving it on so that I can use the light so you can see what I'm doing. All right, now I did put my presser foot down and out of the way, and now I want to make sure that my needle is in the highest position. To do so, I'm going to turn my wheel away from me, so in that direction, holding my thread taut so that it doesn't come out of this latch here. I'm going to turn, and when I think it's in the highest position, I'm going to check with my needle threader to make sure that the tiny silver hook that is in between these two pieces of plastic is going through the eye of the needle. All right, okay, so we're going to push our needle threader down and back. Then we're going to take our thread, put it through and in front of that piece of plastic there. There is another piece of plastic hook right here. You can see that. Okay, so we're going to go under that hook, and now we're going to hold it taut and let go our needle threader. It should form a loop to the back. Now it might take some getting used to, but once you get used to it, you will find it, I think you'll find it useful. Okay, so I'm going to push the loop through and being careful to pull it out from the back and not to pull the thread from the front, because then I'm going to just undo what I just did. All right, so make sure and pull the loop from the back. Okay, and you can cut off your excess thread. Now you're ready to put in the bobbin. Again, it is safer to do this with the machine off, but I'm leaving it on to use the light. All right, so we're going to put this in with the thread coming out on the left side, just like our diagram here shows. And as you can see, it is saying that it needs to get hooked on a little latch there. So I have an extra casing here, and this is where the thread is going to be caught. Okay, it's going to be going down here, and it's going to stick in like this little notch. All right, and when the needle goes down, somehow it pulls it up through the bottom here. All right, so you're going to stick the thread right into this little notch. All right, so we're going to put the bobbin in, and we're going to make sure that it is caught on that latch. Now, I have found with my girls, it is easier for them to thread the machine if they leave a piece of thread, hanging off, as opposed to using this and cutting it off. That way, when the needle grabs the thread, there is a good sized piece of thread for they to pull through. You know, as you get more experience, you can go ahead and just put this through here and cut off the excess. All right, so I'm going to have this piece of extra thread hanging off there. Now this part is important. This time, to catch the bottom, the bobbin thread, you need to turn the wheel towards you. Okay, if you turn it, I'm going to turn it away from me, so in that direction first, just to show you that it is not going to work. So I'm turning the wheel in that direction, and as you can see, it did not catch the thread when I brought it up. Okay, all right, now I'm going to turn the wheel towards me, and as you can see, it got the thread. And hopefully you can see what I was saying just now when I said to leave an extra thread. You see, it has a good sized piece of thread for you to pull through, as opposed to just a tiny piece sticking out at the bottom there. All right, so now that I have my two pieces of thread, I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to guide my top thread through the notch in my foot on that side, and then I'm going to take my two pieces of thread and have it hanging off to the back. One last tip is you want to make sure that especially the top thread, that it is not too long but also not too short, because if it is too short, when you start sewing, it is going to the machine is going to become unthreaded. All right, because there is just not enough thread, you know, hanging off the back. All right, so I'm just going to cut that off, and this is what my thread looks like. All right, then I'm going to take my cover and put it back on, and we're ready to sew. All right, so as you can see, the stitches are nice and neat, no bulging. All right, so hopefully that was helpful. Thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you in another video. Bye.